Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bertena's Spiritual Sanctuary. Today, we're going to explore the mysteries of spirituality, divination, and ancient wisdom to empower your soul's journey. I'm your host, Bertena, and today we're diving deep into a powerful and transformative topic: healing ancestral wounds. We'll explore who our ancestors are, what generational healing means, and how we can use spiritual techniques to break cycles and reclaim our divine power. So let's get comfortable and let's begin. So, before we dive into the healing, let's first understand who our ancestors are. There are three types that most people recognize as our ancestors. There's the biological ancestors, who are your family. They're the lineage going back generations further on. The spiritual ancestors are those whose souls are connected to you through past lives, traditions, and spiritual lineages. These can be biological or ones that have connected with you through traditions that you feel like you are drawn to, or even possibly if you have a spiritual teacher, sometimes their spiritual ancestors will be connected to you as your ancestor. And then there's the cultural ancestors, which are the wisdom keepers. They're the shamans, the priestesses, the healers of your ancestral lands. So when you go back looking into your DNA, looking into your culture, you may wonder why you're drawn to, say, four-leaf clovers and St. Patrick's Day when you are very Irish. And this is because the ancestors of those times are the wisdom keepers, and they're here to kind of help you heal past situations as well as help guide you today. So, whether you know their names or not, these ancestors live within you through your DNA, through your behaviors, through your beliefs, and through your energetic patterns. So, let's define what generational healing is. Generational healing is a powerful spiritual process of recognizing, honoring, and transforming the wounds and patterns passed down through our ancestral line. These wounds can be emotional, energetic, or even physical, and they often shape our thoughts, our behaviors, and our life experiences, sometimes without us even realizing it at all. Our ancestors lived through joy and wisdom and success, but they also endured hardship, trauma, and struggles. So sometimes unresolved emotions or unhealed pain from their experience gets carried forward through generations, manifesting in different ways. A few examples of ancestral wounds are these. A family history of poverty may result in a scarcity mindset in descendants, thus having people hold on to the idea of needing, I need this, I don't have this, and that type of thing. And once you get into that scarcity mindset, it continues that you hoard things, you hold on to things, you're afraid to even enjoy things in your life. Unresolved grief from past generations can show up as chronic sadness or depression in later family members because when you're not understanding grief and you don't go through the grief process, it just holds on into your DNA. And women in a lineage who express suppression and oppression may pass down fears of speaking up or taking leadership roles. Many times, women who are afraid of like making someone mad or being in charge, and they don't understand why. They didn't necessarily have that experience. It's because that has been passed down to them in learned behavior and sometimes subconsciously, and knowing your place and being quiet. And also, a history of betrayal may result in difficulty trusting each other or even forming healthy relationships. If you don't have a family that provides examples or role models for healthy relationships, then that brings about difficulty of not just trusting in relationships, but trusting in peers, in friends, in coworkers, or anything else. So a lot of the things is that generational healing is really first recognizing the patterns because we can't heal what we're not aware of. And many people, once they do realize what the patterns are, they're kind of confused as how it affects them today. So some inherited patterns are positive, such as resilience and creativity, passing down intuitive gifts, but many can be limiting or even self-sabotaging. Generational trauma can manifest in us through emotional blocks, feeling unworthy, guilty, or stuck for no reason. This can also cause physical symptoms, which has no medical explanation, such as chronic pain, fatigue. And then from that is repeating life's patterns, attracting the same toxic relationships, the financial struggles or fears that our ancestors had, and then feeling again unworthy, guilty, or stuck. And then that brings about this physical symptoms, and it goes into a cycle, a continuous cycle. Many times our family dynamics affect us, feeling obligated to conform to certain roles or even expectations because that's how our family does it, is one of the hardest generational traumas to overcome, because the people are still there and you feel guilty and you feel bad if things aren't going right. It's because you're not doing it the right way. And many people don't realize that unexplained fears and phobias come from your ancestors. A deep rooted fear of something you've never personally experienced but might have been present in your lineage, such as something simple as fear of snakes or fear of heights or fear of water, because someone in your family has experienced that trauma and it's passed down. So once you see these patterns, we can break them and create a new path for ourselves and for future generations. But let's look at the science behind generational trauma. It's called epigenetics and energy. Even science is catching up with what spiritual traditions have known for centuries, that our ancestors' experiences affect us. Epigenetics is the first really good explanation of this. Studies show that trauma can alter our DNA expression. They've done research on Holocaust survivors, descendants, and children of war survivors, and it reveals that they have inherent stress responses from their ancestors. There's also energy and karma. In spiritual traditions, it's believed that energy is passed down through the ancestral line, and by healing ourselves, we send healing energy backward and forward in time. There's a wonderful ceremony that I love doing, and it's having mirrors on each side, and you look like it's on your right side and your left side, and they're facing each other, and you can look in either mirror and see reflection of those mirrors going back 7 times. Looking into those mirrors and saying whatever affirmation or whatever healing thing that we're going to talk about later is really good. I did a practice where you look into the mirror and you can go back and it says, I forgive everyone in my family for their need to survive, things that have been passed on. I release the karma, I release the energy, and it's just very beautiful because it's believed that it it goes all the way back 7 generations, and then you look forward and you send that energy towards forward to 7 generations that way. And then you're kind of the trauma breaker. And sometimes it's really, really emotional. It gets really, really hard. But, it really does help if you want to think of ancestral energy kind of like a river. In your past, the pollution or unhealed trauma starts coming down the stream and it affects everyone downstream. So when it gets to you, if you become the cleansing aspect, you can push the cleansing back to the source. And then as the water flows pure through the past into you, you can push it through future generations. But generational healing isn't just about freeing ourselves, it's about shifting the entire energetic pattern of our lineage. When we heal, we release burdens we were never meant to carry. We break cycles of pain, addiction, or unhealthy relationships. We reclaim the wisdom, the gifts, and the power of our ancestors. We help free our children and future generations from inherited wounds, and we strengthen our spiritual connection with those who came before us. Now, just kind of imagine your ancestors standing behind you, cheering you on as you heal what they could not. It's believed that you're the chosen one for this work, this generation, and this time. So, here are a few spiritual techniques for ancestral healing. One's pretty simple. Set up an ancestral altar. Using a sacred space with candles, photos, offerings like herbs, water, or food that they loved, pictures that they have of them, and putting the food near them, allowing them to appreciate your offering, and then speak to them, invite their guidance, and leave them with prayers. This is a very personal thing. So, thinking about who you're wanting to connect with. Is it a father, grandfather, grandmother, or someone who's passed on, or is it someone just in your culture that you may not know? You can also do ancestral meditation and journeying. I'm going to be doing that on Thursday at 7 p.m. on Zoom. You're welcome to come, but I also record it and I'll post it here directly after this one. And really, all you have to do is just kind of close your eyes, visualize a sacred space, invite your ancestors in to communicate, and ask what needs healing and how they can assist. And just really listen to your guides to see what they tell you to do. Possibly, if they tell you that there's limiting beliefs or emotional pain that's inherited from your family, you can write those down. And you can do cord cutting or releasing rituals. You can burn the paper or use visualization to cut energetic ties. You can use Reiki. You can use crystals to just cleanse your energy and release all of these limiting beliefs or emotional pain. Of course, as I said, Reiki or energy healing really does help. If you are at Reiki 2 level, you know how to send energy to the past and then energy to the future and help healing your ancestral line both direction using an intention, breath work, and visualization. Shadow work and journaling is another way that people find very helpful. Reflect on family patterns and ask yourself, what beliefs no longer serve me? What emotions do I carry that aren't mine? And how can I break those cycles? This is very intense work. So don't think that you're just going to sit down and it's just going to go away. It's a step by step process and it takes time in order to be able to really be aware of the emotions and the patterns and things like that. You can also use the elements. Use water for cleansing, fire for transmutation, earth for grounding, or air for communication, and rituals to heal and honor your ancestors. I like using water. It's cleansing, it's purifying, just dipping my hands into the water and putting it to my forehead, putting it to my hands to prayer. Fire, burning things. I love watching fire. Walking in different places where your family, your ancestors have been. And then air is just speaking, communicating. That could be singing, that could be any type of movement or anything like that. And these rituals do not have to be something you find in a book. They can be something very personal to you. Just allow your body to move, your words to speak, your heart to go outwards, and that's all you need. Some people like to use tarot or oracle cards, and you basically can pull 3 cards and ask, what ancestral wounds need healing? What strengths have I inherited to help me heal from this? And what message do my ancestors have for me? And then journal and work from there and help work out those processes. And then one of the favorite things that people do all the time that they don't realize is healing the ancestral line is through food and rituals. Cooking a meal that grandmother loved to make or that your mom loved to make and share it with gratitude to your families, telling the stories of when you were younger and you saw this food being created and the family stories and laughing and crying and going through that heals those ancestral wounds. Also, doing a death dinner or something with De los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, or Samhain, or anything really does help If you want to go back and look at the episode in October for Samhain, I talk about this a little bit there. But here's some final thoughts. Healing our ancestors is an act of love. So, as we release what no longer serves us, we create a legacy of light for future generations. So, think about this. What is one ancestral pattern that you want to heal? What gifts from your ancestors are you reclaiming? And then, how can you honor your lineage in your daily life? The last one's kind of hard because sometimes we love our lineage and sometimes we are in battle against the lineage because of the things that we remember, the trauma that we have experienced. So, honoring the good parts and releasing the not so good parts is really, really important. So, think about this. This is a sacred journey for you. Remember that you're not alone. Your ancestors walk beside you. They are helping you shine your light. They are helping you find your way in healing and just moving forward in this world. Healing your ancestral wounds does help you find out more of who you are. It does help find your purpose here. It does help you find why you are here. So, in saying that, I hope you have a wonderful day. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please share this with some of your family and think about some traditions or some rituals that you may be able to do together. Maybe having your grandmother tell you stories or grandfather showing you ways of doing things, your parents, your children passing down some things. But just remember, whether they're here or in the spiritual plane, they are still with us and they can still guide us. So if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to Bertena Spiritual Sanctuary on Spotify and let me leave a comment about how you are about to connect with your ancestors. I hope you have a wonderful day.